Coat of Many Colors is a snapshot of Dolly Parton's childhood when she was around 9 years old. It's set in the 50s. It is the story of really a family tragedy that turns into healing. It is faith-based, and it is about the power of love. The role that I play in Coat of Many Colors is Dolly Parton, and Dolly is Dolly's mother. The mother of, at the time, 8 children and 1 on the way. Um, so she has lots of patience, and she's a super devout woman. She is very strong in her faith, and that is the lens with which she sees the world and how she raises her family. The coat in Coat of Many Colors is really a symbol. It's a symbol for their family that grew out of a tragedy. During the time that Dolly was pregnant with her 9th child, to be little Larry, he dies. He's born prematurely and he dies, and consequently this throws the whole family into tragedy and her into a depression for a while. As she is coming out of that depression, she takes the quilt that she was making for little Larry and decides to turn it into something beautiful, to turn tragedy into something beautiful, and to make a coat for Dolly called the Coat of Many Colors, fashioned after, or at least in spirit, Joseph's coat of many colors in the Bible. Dolly's childhood was one. She grew up very poor in Appalachian, Tennessee, in Sevier County, Tennessee, no pun intended, even though it's spelled differently. And she grew up obviously surrounded by so many brothers and sisters and a family full of love, even though they were extremely poor and farmers and farmed tobacco and you know, made the best that they could and scraped by. And they were fun. They were all musicians. They played music. They were heavily involved in the church, and a lot of music was enjoyed there. They all played instruments and sang, and so it seems like it was a very love-filled and safe childhood in that way, even though they were very poor. The coat in Coat of Many Colors is not only a symbol of tragedy and turning tragedy into something beautiful. Dolly learns, and the family learns, a really big lesson through this coat. There is a lesson about bullying throughout, where Dolly was bullied basically for being poor, and that the coat was just a coat made out of scraps and rags, and that it actually wasn't beautiful and regal like she had seen it through the eyes of her mother, who gave it to her with love. And she learns a lesson then about the real world, and consequently has to be shown that there is more to loving your enemies, and there is more to loving yourself than sometimes how people will treat you in the outside world. Ricky Schroeder plays Lee, Robert Lee Parton, known as Lee Parton, who is my husband and Dolly's father in the movie. And his character is one, he's, I would say, strong but silent, and loves a good joke. He does love a good joke. And he's a hard worker, a super hard worker, and he does his best to try to keep the family together. You know, in the 50s there was very much a division within the family of labor, and he is very much a male fatherly archetype in the movie. Lee and Lee's relationship is one that is supremely loving. They are absolutely madly in love, and from what I have gathered from Dolly and from her sister Stella, who was here with us on the set, they were very loving and very passionate. And along with that passion comes also some spark and some fire. So there are points in the movie where they butt heads several times, and Abby Lee is not one to be a pushover at all, so she stands her ground, and they have some, you know, some standoffs at times, but it always ends up they come back around to each other. One of the beautiful parts of the movie is also Lee's spiritual journey within the movie, because he is not a man of faith in the same way that Abby Lee is in her faith, and she so wants him to be, and wants that for him and wants that for her too, that they could share that. And so he goes on a spiritual journey through the movie as well and comes around. What I loved about the script, obviously it's a script that is set in the South, and I am originally from South Georgia, so so many Southernisms that were so authentic, you know, all the way to church and its importance, and to faith and its importance, and even to the way that one expresses oneself in it. You know, there are so many authentic phrases, and the way that the movie even sounds when you read it or when you watch it and listen to it. I was struck by that, and I loved the emotion of it and how much love was written into it. You know, not only within the family, but also in the way that it's written. It's just beautiful.